Hi, YouTube. I hope you're all doing good. I am okay. Not too bad. I had a really late night last night. I did make my meatloaf. It was good. I'm going to make a sandwich out of it today. Yeah. But that kind of is one of my topics today is when you have disturbances in your life that are meant to intentionally disrupt your rhythm in your life that you like to keep. I don't know, most people are like you're on a schedule in your life and you like to maybe get things done at a certain time or that type of thing. If you're not able to because of whether it's intentional from another person or what, I guess is even beside the point. It's how do we deal with it? Um, and are we going to allow somebody else's rhythm in their life to disrupt ours? If you really cannot, um, like me, I cannot correlate my schedule to somebody else's when they're um, a night owl type of person, you know. And have you noticed that I have, but for me, the narcissistic personality, and that I know that word is like overused, sociopath, maybe. Um, I they have a tendency to be more of a nighttime people, and I used to love staying up all night and watching the sun coming up. But that was sort of a different type. I had a different type of um, reason for doing that, I guess, than some people that I've seen. So I just thought I'd kind of touch on the fact that when we're trying to operate and keep our bodies functioning well, like digesting our food the right way and getting the sleep we need and getting our work done so we can be prosperous on this planet. Um, oh, it can be rather daunting some days. So that's kind of how I'm feeling. I mean, I like I say, I always wake up happy, but like even I was sweeping my floors and thinking, well, it's not just because I'm getting older, but when you're tired, the things that you have to get done are doubly as hard no matter what, you know. So, yeah, I saw this this woman was talking online. I have no clue what she looks like or why she said that, but talking about some joke about how deep a woman's voice is or not. And I wrote to her, you know, like putting them down, like called her Batman and said she needed to save the whole city or something like that. I'm thinking, well, that's really not very nice. So I really did. I wrote on there. Um, to me, I'm glad that these women that used to go little squeaky voices, and you talk to them on the phone, and they're talking like tiny little babies. You know, it's like, oh my God, give me a break. I went through this with a lot of women that or girls that were like going out with my sons, and they would try and talk as fast as they possibly could, barely enunciating their words and talking like a baby girl. That was so annoying, so annoying. So I just wrote this woman. I'm just glad that that baby girl stuff is gone. I said, but then maybe guys like little girls, eh? Because I do have a wide range in my voice, you know. So And I'm sure a lot of other women might too. Like their singing voice might be a lot different than what their speaking voice is, you know, and it might depend on the song that they're singing or, it just, I thought it was so rude. And I thought this was my first instinct, but I thought you're either ugly or you got a great big muffin butt, whatever. So I just wrote what I wrote and left. And I said, have a nice day or a good day or something to him. Because I didn't want to insult everybody on the whole thread. Otherwise, I would have worded things a little bit differently. But I don't know if you know who Lauren Bacall is. She was known for her like smoky or raspy voice or whatever. But she was quite the singer and quite the actress too. I'm sure and like she could hit high notes with her voice too. So I don't know. I just thought I'd mention that because that irritation of, especially on the phone, these women that were talking like little girls. It was like, what is this? I know I'm in hell, not by choice. Or, actually by choice. That's the stupid thing about it. I actually volunteer to help people in rough situations. But um, I do believe that I don't think this is so much a prison planet as it would be described as hell or death. You don't get much closer to death than starting to die the day you're born, you know, and that is a fact. Even though your body is growing, you start to die the day you're born, you know. And I know that's kind of a gross way of looking at stuff, but it is the truth. So, yeah, I've been really concerned for those people in Palestine, Palestine, however they want to say it, Ohio, with that train derailment and all the. I heard now, I don't know that this is true, but they started taking some of the wastewater from the fires that they were putting out, and they had dug like some type of hole, and this water went into it. So they must have pumped it out of there, and they were shipping it to some place in Texas. Now I know they do this a lot. They ship waste products, factory waste products, and they'll bury it like in the desert in Nevada or whatever. It's kind of a common practice. And then another thing that I had heard, now I think they put a stop to that. They were doing it, and then maybe they got busted doing it and had to stop because they've got to deal with it some other way. I'm not quite sure. But I am pretty disgusted that we can help other countries and we're right there, right now. And nobody's down there really helping the people. The EPA should be down there. They should be down there with the National Guard. And first they tell the people it's okay to go back in there, and then, or that it's not safe and that it is safe. And this one woman was talking about how she tried to get samples of what was in her creek in her backyard, and the people that were trespassing on her property were trying to stop her from getting samples out of that creek, but she didn't send them samples to any place locally She sent them out of state, and it's going to be a couple weeks till they get the results of exactly what is in those, what those chemicals are. And another person I was listening to, I don't know if it was like oh, Tucker Carlson or one of them, were talking about um, let me see if I can remember exactly. Oh, it was like every 2 days. Oh, it was We Are Change. That's what it was. Luke Grabowski or something like that was talking about the every 2 days we have a chemical spill just in the United States alone. So, and I can believe that, you know. Just look at the factories that are pumping out pollution continually. And that's during the day. Can you imagine what their incinerators are doing at night when people don't know? Yeah, I can. So, yeah, it's a serious thing. These greedy people with their um, big companies and factories and all that, I mean, yeah, we need these things. But those are the things that they should be concentrating, making green energy, not taking what they're doing and putting it on you or I. My cigarette is not going to kill somebody else. Not in my neighborhood, not in my home, nothing. I pollute myself, you know, but I do detox too. But I mean, do they? Do they worry about what these big companies are pumping out in the air all the time? We were all up on China's case about their pollution, their air quality. But now we've got this stuff going in our waters. And it's not like it's something new. Not at all. If I had my way, um, aside from shipping containers for goods that people need around the world, I would ban all motor oil boats on all waterways around the world. Every single one of them. If you've ever been in a runabout or something with a gas motor mixed with oil that goes into you can see the um, oil on top of the surface by the motor. When you turn off the motor, you can see it in the water, you know. That's why the Boundary Waters canoe area in between Minnesota and Canada, there's no motor vehicles allowed up in that area. And that's most important because that is right up above where the Mississippi starts from a spring in the ground in a place called Itasca, Minnesota. And there's water up above there, like rivers and lakes and whatever. So it's good that what is up above there is clean, you know. But the, these inconsiderate people, I mean, what they're doing is they are actually so greedy that they're taking every every resource off this planet for them and their children while they screw over you and your children. And nobody has the right to be a figure of authority over another human being except God Almighty. That's it. The one and only. Nobody else has that right. Not one human being. And they could say, well, Nobody owns the water, nobody owns the air. Well, you might think a little differently about that if you have ever pounded your own well by hand. You would think differently about that. Yeah, my water's my water, you know. And where my well is, you would get hurt trying to get close to my water, you know. Unless it's in the creek, and then you might get hurt anyway from trespassing, you know. So I do feel sorry for that woman that had a creek in her backyard. She's not the only one that now it's polluted. And what are they going to do this summer with their crops? Are their gardens going to grow? Um, are their children going to have 3 fingers on one hand instead of two? Or, I mean, instead of two, yeah, missing two. Um, you know, the different things that actually happen when water is polluted, you know, plants morph, all kinds of things. Wildlife dies, people die, they get cancer. I mean, all the things that we've had in our country that our government has done to other people, and some of it's been intentionally. Here's a for instance. I lived in this little tiny town, and they were spraying DEET for the mosquito control because it was by a river. And they went to spray it on my yard where my kids play. And I went out there and I said, "You get your poison out of here." And they said, "Well, we're doing the whole town." I said, "You are not spraying my yard. I will beat your ass." See, I had natural bug control. So even smoke is better from natural, from wood, like pine oil going into the environment is natural when it comes back down. It's a carbon that is biodegradable. So, and they stood there and argued with me. I was like, "This isn't going to turn out pretty for you." You know. So yeah, I am rolling cigarettes while we're talking. I was thinking about doing a live stream, but after I got my wood in and my floor swept and some other things, it's like, nah, I just didn't feel like reading comments and answering. I don't know that anybody'd even be on it because a lot of people are still busy getting ready for their work week, you know, probably doing their laundry and getting their food ready for the week and all that fun stuff that makes you feel like you never had a day off. All those things, you know. If you do get to sit in your chair and rest for a while, you're lucky, you know, that type of feeling. Or not lucky. Actually, there's not too much luck involved with that. Wrong choice of words. You're not even fortunate. It's horrible. And really, the wage, the price of minimum wage or whatever, what people make hourly, that could go up. Everybody could afford houses and cars and all that stuff. Our government can write money to go give it to other countries and charge you and I for that. Why can't they make money to help everybody that needs things? You know? Yeah, they could. Just like tent cities down by the border. They can put up tent cities for illegal immigrants. Why aren't they putting tent cities up on the outskirts of our cities? for the homeless people. And everybody's like, well, the homeless veterans, yes, the veterans too. But once again, these people, I'm in there, probably have post traumatic stress and all kinds of emotional and physical handicaps because of the career that they chose to go into. You know, I'm not one that just honors somebody because they decide to put on a uniform. I never have been. So I've met some pretty hellacious monsters in uniforms, and that doesn't really do much for me. In fact, it does repulse me, mostly. So I'm not really one to be like that at all because I do have a thing about human beings pretending to be a figure of authority on other human beings for any reason. So I have it grates on my soul. I hate it. Actually, I guess it does more than grates on me. So, yeah, I wasn't very understanding of it when I was young. And I kind of thought it was cool. And I actually got really close to going in the service a couple times. And I'm glad I didn't because now I would think I would have been one of the stupidest people on the planet. And that's how I view them. There's people over there right now today in Russia and Ukraine, from what I understand, that are probably dying, you know. But you know what? Maybe if they had sat down and talked like they were asked to do and decided not to do because out of greed for land. This is all over land, you know. It's not necessarily just the way the people are being treated because there's people in Ukraine that know that they were always a part of Russia. And just because the lines have been blurred on the countries doesn't mean that their heritage or their family members just right across, like it's a state line here or whatever, that anything has changed like that for them because it hasn't. You know, it's pretty sad when people can't sit down and work things out because they're all so greedy. And once again, my theory is more than a theory because you can see the way things work in the world. They'll blow one situation up, like some type of building or whatever, and reconstruct it or turn it into what they always wanted it to be anyway, and that's why it was done, you know. So that's what they do. They do it all over the place. Instead of, it's a lot cheaper in some respects for them just to blow up an old building or wrecking ball, just demolish it, than it is to go in and refurbish all the electrical and all the plumbing, everything that would be ancient. And if you look at these countries over there, a lot of their buildings and their structures are very ancient. So, whose country are we building back better? That's my question of the day. And why isn't our government in force? There should be army personnel for every person in that contaminated city in Ohio right now. There should be no person that has to go and drink water out of their tap or shower in that garbage right now at all, when there are portable means that we could have down there and should have down there for those people. I don't care if it costs $500 billion or whatever. And there's been, do you know how many billions we have spent on other countries? And they say they're going to pay us back. When is that? After you've already destroyed the whole world? What's money going to mean then? And here's something. Did you see Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, on top of a van holding out two flags, and he's standing there, like one in each hand, his arms extended, his feet extended, and he's standing on the top of this van as they're driving down the street. And I thought, okay, something doesn't look right here, because I know he's an actor, but if you're in war times, your president does not get on top of a van and parade himself through the streets like that in a country that's at war with their neighboring country, just seconds away from gunfire and bombs and everything else. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know if you saw that, but I thought, okay, it just doesn't look like realistic. Just like him and this one news reporter lady. She's out there and she's got her makeup on and her hair's done, and she's got on a vest for war and like a baseball cap. And I'm like, okay, where's the army gear? If you're in a war zone, why don't you have a helmet on? Where's your gun? What the hell? She was out there with Zelensky, and they were talking in an area that was under bombing at that moment. It's like they looked like they were somewhere watching fireworks together. It didn't seem like they had any fear of being hurt at all. That was my observation on that one. I don't know if anybody's listening to me really thinks that any wars are actually real. Like I say, not that people don't die or anything, because it is the civilians that are in harm's way that have the most damage done to them. Ones that are forced out of their homes and into other neighboring countries like Poland or whatever. Those are the ones that have been harmed. So, and they say, well, like there was a school that had been bombed. This was maybe when the war first started, over a year ago now, in one day or 2 days. But no children were in the school. Or maybe they wanted to rebuild the school or use the land where the school was on. Just watch what they're going to rebuild there after they destroy all this stuff. You saw all the rubble of these apartment buildings and different homes and dwellings where people lived. Just watch what they do with the money that we've sent over there. That isn't necessarily just for armaments. They'll build with it. You're darn right they will. Whereas our Build Back Better, everybody was so, it was really radical when we had a bridge, I-35 bridge collapse, and people were on it and everything, and people got smashed and everything. That was a pretty big deal about rebuilding our infrastructure in our country. I'm really careful about watching my words because people are so critical. It's just like the other day. I do have dyslexia, so sometimes words that I read will kind of be jumbled, but not as bad because I have mechanisms I use to help myself. And it's mostly with numbers, but I can do math and I've been a dealer for blackjack, and so I mean I can function with numbers and stuff, but I do it differently than other people do it. It's a little bit different, but anyway, getting back to my point, um, I know the other day I usually say library, but I said library, um, and some people do. Maybe they have a speech impediment. Maybe they, and I have had a stroke, and that's what happened then. I actually couldn't spit out the whole word. And I think maybe, and a lot of people I know, not personally, but on here, do have speech impediments, and it's really incredible how they can function. It is. I know that God helps me. I really do know that. I wouldn't be talking without his help. So he must want me to talk. So, well, I think that's probably about it for today. I just really wanted to touch on that fact about waking up, happy regardless of what's going on. I always do. I mean, through the day, it might get kind of hard, like towards the end of the day, but, depending on the difficulties we go through and whatever, and what we're feeling like physically, but not to let the dark energy steal our happiness and our smiles and what they want to take for themselves because they don't have that, you know. And it must be a miserable way to live, to wake up. I'm going to tell you something really funny here because I know Doug watches these videos quite often. But last night when he came in, he didn't want anything to eat right away, but I knew he would. But he sat down and he called. He was going to cancel an order that we haven't gotten on our credit card for fraud. And he was talking to a computer. He was getting really vulgar with the computer, and it must have hung up on him like 3 times. And he was just horrible. He's horrible to a lot of like service people, not as much as he used to be because I get down on him for that. But yeah, it was pretty awful if it had been a real human being. Unfortunately, I had to listen to it though, but it was a trip. He was even beeping back at it. Okay. Anyway, it was kind of funny on a sad level. So, all right, everybody, have a really good night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.